Happy Thursday, March 28th, everyone. This is your afternoon update. My name is Hunter with Weather on the Go, and in today's weather forecast update, we will be talking more about your Easter weekend forecast, followed up by severe weather potential as we go into next week. There are growing indications that a significant severe weather outbreak may be brewing, and also looking ahead at your early picture of what April 8th looks like for the total solar eclipse. So we'll be looking into that later on in today's update. If you are new here and you like detailed but accurate weather forecasts, do be sure to press the subscribe button down below and the like button, the thumbs up button down below. It helps out more than you know. So let's look at our afternoon highs here on this Thursday, March 28th. And you notice up here where the temperatures are colder in the upper Midwest, that is where we have a more dense snowpack from our recent snowstorm up here. So Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, parts of the UP of Michigan, back into the Dakotas, those areas are stuck in the 20s and 30s this afternoon. But look at the bare ground to the south. And we know that because there wasn't a lot of snow, and that means temperatures are back into the 60s and 70s this afternoon for highs across portions of the central plains, the southern plains, and much of the eastern U.S. Let's look as we go into Friday. You can still see warmer to the south where we have bare ground, we don't have snow on the ground, and colder to the north where we do have that snowpack still laying down on the ground across parts of the Dakotas, northeastern Nebraska, through Minnesota, Wisconsin there, and into UP of Michigan. And looking at the precipitation this afternoon, we're watching a couple disturbances moving through the country. We do have some rain and snow depending on the elevation here in the Pacific Northwest. Also a heavy rainmaker from portions of New England coastline down into the Mid-Atlantic coastline this afternoon. That will continue as we go into tonight. Some heavier rains, moderate to heavy rates across Boston, down here to Nantucket, getting into eastern Long Island there. And then as we go into Friday, we'll start to see that rain and snow peel away from the northeast coast, but Maine will likely still see some heavier precipitation on and off through the day there on Friday. And then Friday night, still seeing that snowfall continuing for Maine, especially up near the Caribou region into that time frame. And a new disturbance will be moving through the Midwest, bringing some rain, maybe a few thunderstorms, non-severe thunderstorms across Milwaukee, Madison, and Chicagoland as we go into Friday night. Let's look at our total precipitation going to the start of the weekend. This goes through Saturday, March 30th. Decent rains here from Boston down through Rhode Island there, eastern portions of Connecticut in the eastern Long Island region, and then down near the coastline of the Mid-Atlantic. Widespread totals there of over 2 inches of rain, and then that mini disturbance across portions of Madison, Milwaukee, Chicagoland, stretching over there into the northern Ohio Valley for Friday night, could be giving us a quick inch of rain there through that time frame. And then of course that storm out west providing us with some rain out there going into the start of the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, it's Easter weekend coming up. Let's look at our temperatures here across the south and southeast. We're going to be widespread spring-like temperatures there on Saturday. That continues into Easter Sunday, but notice the temperature gradient here, and that is a warm frontal boundary that'll be laying across the central plains, the Midwest, and the Ohio River Valley. To the north of that boundary, temperatures will be more fall and wintry-like into the 30s and 40s. South of that boundary, we're warmer, we're more moist, we're more unstable as we go into Sunday afternoon. So definitely seeing more of those 60s, 70s, even 80s down here into West Texas for Easter Sunday. Let's look at the jet stream orientation for Easter weekend. This is Saturday, March 30th into Easter Sunday, March 31st. A positively tilted trough moving into California and the West Coast as we go into this upcoming weekend. And here's what the precipitation map shows. Now, a weak system across the Great Lakes giving us rain, giving us some snow, or a mix of rain and snow, but not that big of a deal for any meaningful accumulations. We're looking to the west, California in particular here, Los Angeles and San Diego, Santa Barbara here, going to see some very heavy rains on Saturday, very heavy snow there in the Sierras and into Nevada. And then as we go into Easter Sunday, a lot of that moisture moves into the Rockies, and it's cold enough to where we have that turning to snow across portions of Wyoming, into Idaho, into Nevada there, into the Four Corners region as we go into Easter Sunday. The warm front will need to be watched Easter Sunday night across Iowa, northern Missouri, and west central Illinois for some isolated hailers right along that front as we have more elevated thunderstorms along and north of that warm front there Sunday night. And we're going to keep an eye on the heavy rain setup as well. Right along that boundary is where we're going to see the heaviest totals from the central and northern plains through the Midwest and the Ohio River Valley, places like Nebraska, Iowa, northern Missouri, here through the land of Lincoln and Illinois, over here to the Hoosier state of Indiana, and then over into portions there of Ohio, Kentucky, and also into West Virginia, western portions of Pennsylvania. Seeing some rainfall amounts 1 to 2 inches as we go into Easter weekend, but more importantly, the snowfall will stay out west with the cold pocket aloft. That's going to be out west across the Rockies into the Sierras. That's where we're going to see the snowfall continuing as we go into the Easter weekend time frame. Things change as we go into early next week. Here's Monday, but look at the temperature gradient. That's what doesn't change. You definitely see that setting up again, Midwest, the Ohio Valley, north colder, south a little bit warmer there on Monday, and then we have a cold front sweeping through on Tuesday, which usually with a cold front comes a more robust storm system here to move all that warm air out of the way. So let's look at the jet stream early next week, Monday, April 1st, in through the early and mid portion of next week through Wednesday, April 3rd. Notice we still have a positively tilted trough here, but a significant jet stream. And here's our significant storm system setting up on Monday. Here's the warm front, lots of convection, shower thunderstorm activity along the front with repeated rounds of heavy rain. This could lead to a flash flooding risk Monday and also Tuesday. Notice the heavy rain setting up there across the Midwest into the Ohio River Valley, perhaps into the Mid-Atlantic. And then you see as we go into Wednesday, a lot of this is going to be turning over to snow in interior New England, where we could be setting up shop for some more heavy snow in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, upstate New York, and into southeastern Canada. But by Wednesday, the cold front will be off the East Coast, so we're not talking about any severe weather. Speaking of that, looking at the instability, this is your surface-based CAPE, convective, available potential energy. Just like I said, this is also otherwise known as instability. And you can see from the Midwest down through the central, southern plains, we're going to have some instability. Now, you don't need a lot of instability this time of year for some significant severe weather. And these values are already up to 500 to over 1,000 joules per kilogram, and this is several days out now. And looking here on Monday specifically at your 500 millibar mid-level jet and looking at the mouth of the jet, usually that's where you look for severe weather, and you can see that up into the Missouri Ozarks region and into the Ohio River Valley on Monday, and a robust low-level jet in the 850 millibar layer starting to crank up as we go, especially Monday afternoon, Monday evening time frame. So here's the Storm Prediction Center's Day 5 outlook. Yes, 5 days in advance. They already say confidence is high enough for a level 2 out of 5, a slight risk for severe weather from portions of Indiana through downstate Illinois, through most of Missouri, eastern Kansas, Oklahoma, into northwest Arkansas, getting into northern, even almost central Texas here on Monday. Let's look at the timing. Now, this will change a little bit over the next few days, but kind of giving you a grasp on when these storms can be expected early next week. Starting Monday morning, some isolated large hail producers cannot be ruled out up near the warm front. These will likely be elevated, so not talking any surface-based storms that can produce any tornadoes or anything like that Monday morning, but that will change Monday afternoon. Notice the warm sector down here, the cold front is impinging on that warm, moist, and unstable air, and then we start to see more severe weather really firing up here across the central and southern plains through the mid-Missouri Valley. These storms will start to race eastward as we go into Monday evening, and we could be talking all modes of severe weather, damaging winds, large hail, and some tornadoes, even after dark as we go into Monday evening, Monday night time frame. And then as we go into Tuesday, here's your surface-based instability. Still, again, you don't need a lot this time of year. We're still up around 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram for the lower Ohio River Valley, down into the Tennessee Valley there and into Dixie Alley, and a robust mid-level jet again in the 500 millibar layer, actually a little bit stronger on Tuesday. But the thing that's lacking on Tuesday is the low-level jet is not looking as strong as on Monday, and it's also parallel to the boundary here, so we're not really seeing any really significant turning of the winds aloft right now for Tuesday. But there is a risk for damaging winds and hail, possibly a couple tornadoes, but I think Tuesday's threat will be more damaging winds and hail here from southern Ohio, southeastern Indiana, through Kentucky, perhaps western West Virginia, down into middle and eastern Tennessee, into northeast Mississippi, northern Alabama, and far northwest Georgia. We'll keep an eye on that. Here's the potential timing. Now again, just like Monday, this could change, but you can see isolated hail producers as we go into Tuesday morning. Robust development during the afternoon, peak heating of the day there from southwestern Pennsylvania all the way down here toward portions of southeast Texas. And then as we go into Tuesday evening, we start to stabilize the atmosphere and we get rid of that severe threat altogether as we go into Tuesday night. And then, like I said, as we go into Wednesday, there's the cold front shifting off the southeast coast. A lot of the thunderstorm activity, besides Florida, could be out of our hair here. And we still have to watch these storms as they enter into Jacksonville, into the Gainesville region, into Tampa and Orlando as we go into Wednesday. But right now, mainly looking at any thunderstorms that turn severe, being damaging winds or hail. Looking at this, we're going to see a lot of rain with this storm. So from Monday, April 1st through Wednesday, April 3rd, this is the area we're talking about, right near and north of that warm frontal boundary from the mid-Atlantic through especially the Ohio Valley into the Midwest here. We could be talking about a stripe of about 1 to as much as 4 inches worth of rain, and this could be becoming a little bit more concerning as we have more of those heavier showers and thunderstorms training over the same areas day after day here. And that means there's a marginal risk for some flash flooding potential Monday the 1st into Tuesday the 2nd time frame. I would not be surprised to see this upgraded to a slight risk for flash flooding as we get a little bit closer to this time frame. Looking at any snowfall prospects, this is mainly a northeast, especially interior northeast event for Maine away from the coast, and then here into portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, upstate New York, perhaps northern and northwestern Massachusetts. We could be talking several inches of snow, but this is kind of tough to predict this far out with the amounts, so we're not showing you the amounts right now, just the placement potential of this, because it is late March and things can definitely change. But looking here also at your total solar eclipse forecast, this goes all the way through Wednesday, April 10th, above normal temperatures are in fact likely across the path of totality here, but we are also seeing above average precipitation through the 10th of April. Now, those of you that want to know the weather pattern here and the cloud cover and all that for the total solar eclipse, the path of totality here, in order to see it, here's the overall pattern with your 500 millibar height anomaly on Monday. This does not look good for looking at a solar eclipse, especially when you have a trough out west and you have a ridge out east. That means a strong low pressure system is likely to develop into the second week in April and travel up through the Great Plains into the upper Midwest, and that looks to be the case. Looking at the European ensemble guidance showing some decent values here for precipitation right along the Mississippi Valley, and that would be right in some of these areas for the path of totality. You're looking at the GFS ensemble guidance, very much similar here. Things can still change, but right now not looking too good for a solar eclipse viewing as we go toward the 8th of April. We'll fine-tune that in the coming days. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new here for accurate weather forecasts moving forward through the year. Make sure to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up. I definitely appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Thursday out there.